I want to start off by showing you a couple clips. Let's watch them. That's outside the Capitol, yes, on January 6th, where you can hear someone yelling, "Kill him, kill him, kill him." Let's take another view from a different perspective. That's right, in those clips you can hear someone yelling, "Kill him, kill him, kill him." That voice you hear is this man. That's Jared Wise breaking into the Capitol after that scene you saw outside. Now let me delve a little bit into what happens before he breaks into the Capitol, what's happening in that crowd scene you saw at the top. This is what's happening. So Jared Wise is at the Capitol. He is telling law enforcement officers there that they are the Gestapo, they're Nazis, shame on them, he says, shame on them. And he explains that he is actually part of law enforcement or was part of law enforcement. And then when the crowd starts attacking those police officers, he says, he yells out, "Yeah, fuck them, yeah, kill them." And then, as you heard in that video, he repeats, "Kill him, kill him, kill him." Directing violence against these law enforcement officers outside the Capitol. That is Jared Wise. Now, why should you care about this one particular rioter outside the Capitol? Because Jared Wise is now one of the new high-ranking hires at Donald Trump's Justice Department. That's right, that guy egging on violence against police officers, telling rioters to kill cops, has just been appointed to the Justice Department by Donald Trump. He has been appointed to the weaponization working group headed by Ed Martin. Now, you'll remember Ed Martin. We've talked quite a bit about Ed Martin here. Ed Martin was a lawyer representing a bunch of these January 6th defendants. Ed Martin was nominated to be D.C. U.S. Attorney. Because of all of the terrible stuff that came out about Ed Martin, his nomination was sunk. So he was appointed instead to head this so-called weaponization working group, which is, ironically, or maybe not ironically, designed to weaponize the Justice Department. So Jared Wise, this January 6th insurrectionist yelling, "Kill him," to rioters directed at the police, is now a part of the Trump Justice Department. Now, what happened with the case against Jared Wise? Jared Wise was indicted on 2 felony and 4 misdemeanor counts as part of his activities on January 6th. And that case was being tried, and it went to the jury on Friday. And before that jury could deliberate, on Monday, Donald Trump pardoned Jared Wise.
Approximately $1,500 for a pardon.
So he's not a convicted criminal. The case never actually got to go to conviction because of Donald Trump, but he is now a high-ranking person in the Justice Department. So he's going to be working with Ed Martin to weaponize that department as part of this broader effort, not just to go after people who held others accountable for January 6th, but to go after all of the president's perceived enemies. With respect to their efforts to rewrite history, they have purged the FBI. You'll remember that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, among their first acts amid the top echelons of the FBI, was to fire a bunch of the top managers of the FBI who had anything to do with prosecutions of January 6th defendants. There was then an effort to gather all the names of people that participated in those prosecutions, even if they were simply assigned those responsibilities and conducting them. And conducting those cases to conviction, as the vast, vast majority of those defendants were convicted. But you have the purge going on, continue to go on at the FBI. You have a lot of FBI agents who are now leaving with their feet, voting with their feet, by getting out, hundreds and hundreds of them taking early retirement because of morale problems at the FBI. And you have the fact that people are being pulled off of assignments working on serious criminal investigations. And you have the fact that people are being pulled off of assignments working on serious criminal investigations to work on the president's political priorities, which mean going after his perceived enemies, dismissing valid corruption cases like the one against the mayor of New York, de-emphasizing white-collar and corporate crime, as one of the top Justice Department people under Trump said, that white-collar prosecutions are bad for business. Well, no, they're just bad for corrupt business. But these are the changing priorities of the Justice Department under Donald Trump. The immigration raids, that is all of these indiscriminate raids, 2 that are going after people with no criminal record. 9 out of 10 of the people they're arresting in these indiscriminate raids have no criminal record, except for coming into the country undocumented. But they're being pulled away from child trafficking cases. They're being pulled away from drug cases. They're being pulled away from border security. They're being pulled away from all kinds of other criminal offenses and true national security threats. And they don't want to talk about the fact that they're pulling agents off of serious crime cases to go after farm workers and grocery workers and others in their Trumpian MAGA priorities. Look at these 2 law enforcement agents I questioned during a Judiciary Committee hearing, and how hard they struggle to avoid answering a question about the diversion of resources away from serious crimes and to immigration enforcement under the Trump administration. How much of your workforce is being diverted to immigration enforcement and away from things that they were doing previously?
Well, specifically immigration enforcement only, that's not what we're focused on. It's just not, sir.
Okay, so how many of the 200 agents have worked in immigration enforcement?
At any given time, anybody could.
No, just overall. Have all 200 been called away at some point to work on immigration enforcement?
No, sir.
Okay, so how many have?
I really would have a hard time giving you an answer on that, sir.
You're running the office.
I am, yes.
And you're having to make decisions about allocating resources.
Yes, sir.
And you've got investigations to pursue that were ongoing at the time of the administration. And you're having to take agents off of one thing to put them on another. I know how strapped the resources were even before this administration. Yeah. So you may not want to be precise here, but we need some sense of what kind of resources are being diverted here. Mr. Perez, are the estimates accurate that 45% of agents in major cities are being called on to work on immigration now? Is that accurate?
No, sir. I would say that's not entirely accurate. I think that maybe comes from some data that looked at.
So what is the accurate percentage?
So nationally, sir, I don't have an exact percentage. I would say it's probably, it ebbs and flows.
In addition to the appointment of people like Jared Wise, who would have been content with police being killed on January 6th, you also have the appointment of other Trump sycophants, like this guy. That's Thomas Fugate. Thomas Fugate is a 22-year-old former Trump campaign advance person with no national security experience, who is now heading the unit at the Department of Homeland Security responsible for trying to combat terrorism. That's right, we've got a 22-year-old intern in a position of responsibility combating terrorism at the Department of Homeland Security. What's his prime qualification? Well, in a way, it's the same as Jared Wise, and that is utter sycophancy, total obedience to the person of Donald Trump.